Hey, what's going on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Rumble? We are live in all these places right now here in Wallsburg, Utah. Have you ever check out this cool church we're in? It's historic, a historic old church, and we are live at a candidate forum for a lot of the 2024 candidates. They're going to be speaking here. Everybody's got about 2 minutes to speak, I believe. We're going to be interviewing some candidates as we get time. But more importantly, all the candidates are going to be able to speak and take a minute to address the crowd. I think everybody gets 2 minutes. It's going to be a good event. There's a lot of big names here, a lot of people. I just want to check the audio really. Let me know if you can hear me on the stream. If you could send in a quick chat, add a comment. But we are going to walk down the crowd here and take a look at this awesome church, historic building that we're in, and hopefully chat with a few candidates before we get started. We're supposed to hear our first speaker here at 7, so we're like minutes away from that. But let's go check out some people here. We got Marlo Oaks. He's here. We've got state senators here from all over the state. Somebody from Kanab I just talked to. I can't remember his name. Looks like this is a guy running for office. See if we can find somebody that we know. It's pretty loud. We got Sylvia Fisk running here.
Podcast?
Yeah, we're streaming live here.
Okay.
Are you speaking?
I am.
Great, that's awesome. The cowboy hat right there. A lot of people. Excuse me. See if we can get Sylvia Fisk here. I heard Mike Lee was going to be here. I haven't seen him yet. How's it going, sir?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good. Your office?
Yes, sir. That's great.
Brad?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, we got Brad Daw here. What are you running for, Brad?
State Senate,
Running for state senate. What district?
District 24.
Where's that?
That's Orem, Provo, and Wallsburg.
Are you running against an incumbent?
No, sir.
Okay. What's your speech there?
My elevator speech is I have experience, I'm accessible, I'm conservative, and I'm very effective. You look at my track record in the House, you'll find I pass the hard bills and I get it done.
Well, thank you for running for office. We really appreciate it. Best of luck to you. Let's see if anybody else is available. Check out that awesome shirt. Yeah. Let's see if we can get Sylvia Fisk here. See if we can get someone here really. Well, we're waiting for Sylvia.
This would look really odd if
Bird. Where's Kevin?
I don't know. I just got called.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, we hope he wins.
Yes, thank
He's a good guy. Let's see if it's available.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but talks regarding continuing cities.
I just don't believe it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. J.R. Bird.
J.R. Bird?
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
That's scary.
Hey, we're here with J.R. Bird, running for Congress.
Yes, sir. I'm from Roosevelt, Utah, the Uinta Basin.
All right. You're running for Curtis's seat, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
What do you think about John Curtis making, I think it was just under Nancy Pelosi in profits off of the stock market from insider trading? What many view as insider trading. What do you think about that?
My personal opinion is this. If you elect me, and I've already made this promise, if you elect me as your congressman, I will not buy one stock while I'm in office.
Like that?
Yeah.
What apart from the other candidates?
Great question. So first, it's going to be our background. So I was born and raised in the Basin. I'm a business owner in the energy sector. I'm the mayor of my hometown, so I have that local mayor, that local government experience, which I think is important, closest to the people. I'm an ag producer. I've worked with the Spanish branch, the Latin community for 8 years. So if you look at the things that we face as Americans, our budget, I understand budget because I've built businesses, overhauled businesses. If you look at energy policy, which is a major thing with our country right now, I understand that as well as anyone. That's my wheelhouse. Immigration, same thing. So that is my experience. Others, they are doctors, they're lawyers, they've been in government positions. But ultimately, if you look at what we face as a nation and you look at my experience, that's really what's going to set us apart.
Okay. One of the things John Curtis was big about was climate change. How do you feel about spending taxpayer dollars on climate initiatives like the Green New Deal or whatever?
That's a good question. So my biggest thing, I happen to like the Conservative Climate Caucus because it's not about climate change. It's about being responsible. And even in the energy industry, we realize we want to be good stewards of the environment. We do it cleaner, more responsibly than anyone. So I think there's a healthy balance there. I think it's completely out of whack right now with the extreme climate change, global warming push. And I've done a lot of research in this, so I understand fairly well and feel very comfortable with where we're at as a nation of being able to drill, being able to unleash our economic potential, our energy potential, without the scary, negative impact major negative impact that's being portrayed. We do want to be responsible. We do want to be good stewards, but we can do both. And so I do like what John's done with the Conservative Climate Caucus. To the degree it gets people talking. I want to get in that and really take it to the next level.
Are you gathering signatures for your campaign?
We are, but we're doing it organically. So my wife, I have to tell you and give a shout out to her. She's gathered over 800 signatures right now, so over 10% of the signatures we've needed. We have volunteers that have gone out and gathered. We have hired a few people, but it's mostly college kids that are paying tuition, paying off student debt, and that's the way we want to do it.
What about the convention?
We're pushing super hard with the convention. That's why we're here tonight. In my opinion, this is the best way to not only let people know who I am, but get to know other people, and this is the correct process. And I love the convention system. This is why I'm doing it. I was advised to do the signature route too, but if I, knowing that I was going to do that, wanted to do it the right way.
If somebody else wins convention, will you stand behind the convention nominee, or are you still going to run in the primary?
So we have our signatures. So we have our signatures ready. So I will be on the primary ballot.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was J.R. Bird. Okay. For Congress. How's it going,
I've been
Dwayne?
looking all over for you.
Yeah?
You're hiding out.
I've been walking around asking people what their pronouns are.
I'm a he and him.
Mine's Your Majesty. Keep that in mind.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Where? Am I
Okay.
Did you do
We're live right now.
an interview at the Alpine School?
So I did a debate.
That was you. Okay.
Mike spoke in the first minute.
Okay. How are you doing? There's actually a stretch in there that's not too bad.
Set
I
up
want to
because
do.
my mic broke. So, yeah. So, and I got cameras up there too. I got
saw
some.
that. Be here somewhere.
Yeah, and they have their own back.
Stuff you did.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Who's Dr. Mike Kennedy? You guys could both be doctors. Okay, so it's neither of you. All right. Sylvia. We got Sylvia Fisk here. How do you say your last name?
Mira.
Miera?
Sylvia Mira.
Okay. All right. Let me just switch the camera here. Yeah, my name's Adam. We're
Adam.
live right now on a bunch of places, all the social medias.
Good.
So the number one question that people want to know of people running against Spencer Cox is, what are your pronouns?
What's a pronoun?
Good answer. I like that. I like that. What sets you apart from the other candidates
I'm a girl,
besides that?
and I know it.
'Cause they said vote for Hillary Clinton because she was a woman, so.
Was she?
Yeah. She was also a mafia boss.
She was a bulldog. Well, I'm tough.
You're tough?
I'm tough.
What's your experience? What were you doing before this, or what are you doing now?
Working hard.
Working hard? Like, what, have you been elected before?
To political office?
Yeah.
Just locally in
Where?
my county.
Okay, cool.
You know,
What made you decide to run?
I'm tired of the lies and the corruption in our government, and I'll call it out, and I'm not afraid to stand up to that.
All right, I like that. What do you think about the new funding for the stadium that Cox just signed?
While we have homeless, sad.
It is sad.
It is sad.
I think it's a big waste of money.
It is a big waste of money. We don't need stadiums. We don't. The thing is, Gail and Ryan Smith know nothing about managing or owning professional sports teams. So why are we trusting them when she ended up selling the Jazz anyway?
Yeah. I feel like we're kind of subsidizing billionaires, really.
Yes, and the thing is, our state does not have the demographics to sustain professional sports. I worked for the Jazz for years. You know, filling a stadium like that, we're not going to do it. And in professional sports, these leagues do not want to see Utah win a championship. It's not going to happen. I was there when we had the finals. Do we think that Utah was really going to win that championship against Jordan and the Bulls? It's not going to happen. Utah is not popular in professional sports. We have weird liquor laws that don't sound inviting to the rest of the country. So we're not popular in professional sports.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not a sports fan, though, so my opinion's invalid.
Well, I am. I love baseball. Yeah. I'd love it, but we can't sustain it. And it's not fair to put it on the taxpayer.
Yeah, it's not fair at all.
No, it's not
Thank
right.
you for running.
Thank you.
Are you gathering signatures for the ballot?
I was, but I don't have the funds. So, you know, you've been using volunteers. I've been getting them myself, and it's a big racket. It's a money-making racket for the signature gathering companies.
Looks like we're going to start speaking here. Are you going to be up there?
Yes.
Okay, great. We'll see you there. 5 minutes. All right. Let's see if we can get Orrin Hatch here. How's it going, sir?
You're running a podcast or something?
Yes. Yeah, we're live right now. We're live with Orrin Hatch, running for Senate. I got your video in the email today.
Oh, good. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
I like it.
All right. Well, what can I tell you?
Somebody said that you kind of were evasive when a question was asked about transgender boys and girls sports, and so that's one of the things I wanted to ask you.
I think I've only been asked that once, and it was by a transgender person. I mean, I don't think the government should have any role in forcing any particular ideology on anybody, and so we shouldn't be girls sports should be girls sports. You know, we shouldn't have men and women's locker rooms. I mean, how much more? That doesn't sound too invasive to me, and that's been my position all along.
Perfect. Okay. All right, I can agree with that. Thank you. What sets you apart from the other candidates?
The biggest thing that sets me apart is that I've actually walked the walk. When I got out of law school, I clerked for Robert Bork, who was the most conservative judge in the country. He was nominated by President Reagan to the Supreme Court, and the Democrats just tore into him personally because they couldn't compete with him intellectually. So I learned right off the bat how tough it was to For that, I've been a director of the Federalist Society who spent 36 years recommending conservative Supreme Court justices to Reagan, Bush 1, Bush 2, and President Trump, culminating in the 3 conservatives put on the Supreme Court by President Trump, which was the most amazing thing in my life. Because what lasts more than a president?
True.
A Supreme Court justice. I made that my life. That doesn't sound like someone who's equivocal. That sounds like someone who knows who they are and what to do. And with me, you get someone who's going to hit the road running, not someone who's going to be training to be a United States Senator.
One of the things you mentioned in your video was you talked about your main competition, standing up against your main competition in that race. Would that be John Curtis?
Well, if the Desert News did a poll and John Curtis, Iowa 1 and 2, and everybody else is considerably behind that. So, you know, if you believe the poll, then I think you'd have to say that. And I think we're diametrically opposed philosophically inside the Republican Party.
Yeah.
I view myself as I actually think I'm the most conservative and the most qualified candidate in the race. There's a lot of people talk a good talk, but they flip-flop during their careers. I haven't. I just told you for 36 years I've been fighting for conservative justice on the Supreme Court. That doesn't sound like somebody who's flip-flopped or somebody who's equivocal about what they believe in.
Okay. What about, last question before they're going to get started here. There's people have talked about splitting the vote in the primary against someone like John Curtis, who was the sitting congressman, who was a previous Provo mayor. And if someone else gets the nomination in convention, people are worried that someone gathered signatures is going to split the vote, and we're just going to have John Curtis. Do you think you can beat him in that scenario?
Oh, I do. Of course I do. I don't think his support's that great. I mean, when we go around the state, he has some supporters, but they're mostly he's not even a full majority of his own district, and he's not known in the other 3 districts. So I think absolutely, I think I'm the guy to do it. I've got the backing from other conservative entities, and I've got the smarts and experience to pull it off.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. I don't. Yeah, it's live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah. At Facebook, it's the Utah Presidential Campaign or Adam for Utah. You can just find me on YouTube and Twitter at Life Driving. All one word. All right, cool. All right, guys, we're going to head up front. Let me squeeze through you here. Sorry. Hey, we got Tina Cannon right here. State Auditor.
Yes.
What does the auditor do?
So we are over everyone's fiscal and statutory compliance. All 1,800 agencies, that's state, local, so county, city, school districts, universities, right down to cemetery districts. We're over all of their financial and statutory compliance.
Are you running against an incumbent?
No, John Dougal is actually running for Congressional District 3 for Congress.
Okay, cool. All right, well, thanks for running, Tina. Are you, do you have any other, are you running unopposed?
Appreciate that, and I agree with you.
Cool. Can't wait to hear you speak. All right. Okay, let's change this over here. Okay.
That's what Mark is wanting. Now, this picture is not bolted in, so if everybody takes back at the same time, we'll see a lot of people here. It may or may not be good.
Okay, we're good.
Good, how are you? Good evening. Could we have you all work your way into the chapel, please? If you're a candidate, please come and find your chair up here on the stand. We have plenty of seats. If you will slide to make room for others to slide in, that would be appreciated. I see Marlo, so you're going to come sit up on the stand with us, Marlo. Trent's on his way up. All candidates, please come find a seat on the stage here. All these candidates up here. We're going to give it 2 minutes. It's going to be great. Hopefully our internet works. We're connected to the Elon Musk Starlink right now. So I don't have my microphone. I can use my phone mic when I'm up here, but I hope the internet from Elon Musk. Come on, Elon, step it up. We need a better upload speed here. See if that still works. It's rusty. That's amazing. You in the very back, if you'd like to come in and get seated, we can start. If you can slide to the outside to make room for those stragglers who are coming, that would be gracious of you. I'd like to welcome you all this evening to the Wallsburg community, Wasatch County. A beautiful place to live, a nice place to visit. Thank you all for coming. My name is Mark Allen, and 8 days ago this was just nothing but a pipe dream. 1 or 2 phone calls later, and look at what a tremendous outpouring and love support. I'm grateful that we have an opportunity as Americans to come together and voice concerns and look for solutions. We have some
really stellar candidates behind me who have been tirelessly going across our state. And it's a thankless business for them often. They hear a lot of complaints, but 300 complaints, maybe they get one thank you, so thank you. Before we do the pledge and prayer, there is one thing that I wanted to just briefly touch on. My dad's an engineer, and he has a little quote that he's recited a few times. That which is measured improves. That which is measured and reported upon improves exponentially. I've got a couple of things I'm going to just pass around for you guys to look at, but there are races in America that we don't have much of a vote on. It's our most important race. Who are our judges? And do they equitably apply the law? So on all your seats, you've seen this citizen portal flyer. And Brother Paul's behind that. My goal is to get cameras in the courtroom so we can monitor the conduct of judges and attorneys. Buck, would you take one pass down each side? We have a lot of judges, and chances are, if I were to put any one of these guys on the spot to name the judges that are in your district, you probably couldn't do it. But they're supposed to apply the law based upon what we legislate, right? Thank you. We'd like to start our meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. It's going to be conducted by Buck. And then prayer will be given by Carolyn Marriott, who's the alternate state delegate. And then we'll have 2-minute speeches from each one of our candidates. I'm going to ask that you refrain from applause, because you can tell it's already going to be an hour of commentary. Buck is our timer down here. He'll give a 1-minute time, and then he'll give you a 30-second time, and then he'll cut you off. And if you don't stop talking, I'm going to put my arm around you. We'll go to that. Thank you.
I'll ask everyone to stand. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Our Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to meet together tonight. We're so grateful to be Americans, grateful for our founding fathers and the founding documents that we stand on. We're so grateful for this great state of Utah, for these candidates who are willing to work for us and serve us. We would ask thee to bless us with thy spirit tonight. Help us to have the spirit of discernment and know what will be best to do for our community and our state. We thank you again for so many blessings and say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much. Little order of housekeeping. There's been we've taken all the bolts off these chair seats, so they have to cooperate. It's forced cooperation. Again, thank you. It's amazing. Anybody out there looking for a place to sit? There's still plenty of seats up in here if you want to work your way up in here. And if you that are can make room, we've got 20 people back there standing, that there's room for you up here. Dr. Kennedy, would you like to come up? Okay, all right. Make sure to focus on that camera here. Thank you. I don't have any set order, but I do know that we have a few that have traveled along and have done more than almost humanly possible. So with that, I would like to start the evening with Marla Oaks, and then let's work our way next over to Mike. Now we'll take a second row first, and then we'll decide who's best behaved, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I'm Marla Oaks. I'm the state treasurer. I'm thankfully running unopposed. I see my cousin here. Hello, Gina. What gets measured gets improved, as Mark was saying. Unfortunately, that's in one of the documents from the White House that talks about managing Mother Nature. What gets measured gets improved. Things like photosynthesis and other natural processes. This was contemplated with natural asset companies, if any of you heard of that. This idea that the New York Stock Exchange would list companies whose purpose was not economic activity, it was to manage Mother Nature and to maximize Mother Nature on the land, which means no economic activity like oil extraction, mineral extraction, grazing, all these things that are happening on public land. They could have raised money from investors around the world, including from China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, and US, and then go out and manage land for conservation purposes. This effort continues at the national level. One of the key issues that we have nationally is the consolidation of power. And that is, in our constitution in the state of Utah, we have separate offices, treasurer, attorney general, and auditor. There was a bill this last session that didn't go anywhere, HB 545. I suggest all of you look it up. It contemplates appointing these independent offices instead of keeping them independent. Thank you. I think you can all figure out where I stand on that issue. That would effectively silence the treasurer and the auditor and the attorney general. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mike Mauer. I'm here representing Governor Spencer Cox and Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, and I'm going to move quickly through some of the most conservative things that our governor's done. A lot of people think, well, is he really conservative? Well, you listen for yourself and decide. Are you for the Second Amendment? If you are, Governor Cox was the first governor in Utah history to sign constitutional carry. Are you pro-life? Governor Cox signed the most stringent methods out there to prevent abortion here in Utah. Are you for tax cuts? Governor Cox, and with the help of legislators who are here today, helped enact $1.2 billion in tax cuts in the last 3 years, the most of any gubernatorial administration. Do you see access to public lands? He and the Attorney General have filed 60 laws to make sure that Utahns will always have access to our public lands. What about pay raises for teachers? They were able to give every teacher in Utah a $6,000 raise last year, while at the same time balancing our budget and giving a tax cut. It's because we're a well-managed state. What about kids in social media? Just moments ago, Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida signed a bill to make sure that parents are in control of what their kids see on the internet, not the Chinese Communist Party. Where did he get that idea from? He got that idea from Governor Spencer Cox here in Utah, who's been leading the way to make sure that parents are the ones who are in control of what goes on in their children's phones and what they see all the time. Do you like being a winner? Utah was recently named by U.S. News and World Report as the best state in the nation. Not second, not third, not fourth. We're number one. And do you care about rural Utah? If you care about rural Utah, you've got a governor from Sanpete County who has moved 590 pre-existing state jobs to rural Utah. On behalf of the governor, thank you so much for your involvement here as delegates, and thanks for Mark for bringing us all together this evening. Have a great evening.
kind of winging this on the fly. I think it'd be fair to do the governor candidates first. So let's invite Sylvia up next, and then Carson, then Phil.
It is nice to be here. I am Sylvia Miera Fisk, and I am the daughter, middle child of two hardworking school teaching parents. As your governor, I will tell the truth. If you come to me with a question, I will answer it. What I won't do is serve you with a lawsuit to silence you. I won't allow my staff to sue you with a lawsuit to silence you. I will bring integrity, transparency, and truth back to our government because I will be working for you, not special interest groups, not lobbyists, and not money. Thank you.
Sorry, I hope I don't screw anything up. I don't think I can stand like that for 2 minutes. My name is Carson Jorgensen. I'm running for governor. And I'm running because for far too long, I've been worried about the quality of leadership and the direction of our state. I know that you all feel it. We see that drift a little bit more blue every year. But we've seen what works. We've seen what policy works. Red works better than blue. Republican works better than Democrat. Conservative works better than liberal. We see it time and time again. So why do we elect these Republicans who find the need to wander down the middle of the road trying to please everybody when we know what works? And that's why I'm here. I have 5 little girls. My family, we've been ranching here in Utah for 6 generations, 170 years. I'm concerned that it's not going to make it to 7. And that's why I got involved in politics. I'd rather be home, working sheep, being out on the ranch, and doing those things. But this is far too important. There's far too much at stake. Over the past 10 years, we have doubled our state spending from $14 billion to $29.5 billion. In the last 3 years, we have gone from taking $4 billion a year to roughly $9 billion a year from the federal government. An audit came out today, and the auditor put out that he was concerned about our dependency on the federal government. And right now, I can't think of a worse idea than to tie our success here as Utahns to the federal government, who is out of control printing money and putting it on the backs of your children. That's what's happening. And that's what we're going to put an end to. That's why I got involved, and we're not going to wander down the middle of the road. We need strong conservative leadership and a clear direction and a commitment to head that direction. And that's why I'm running for governor.
Hello, my name is Phil Lyman, and it's really great to be in Wallsburg with you tonight. I'm a father of 5. My wife Jody and I have 5 kids, 17 grandkids. I'm from Blandy, Utah, and been in the legislature for 6 sessions and was a county commissioner before that. Went through some experiences standing up for my community in Blanding. Ended up getting charged federally, went to jail, got a pardon from Donald Trump, and I understand I understand the weaponization of the federal government, and I don't look kindly on it. And I don't look kindly on the weaponization of state government either. I want to quote something here from the Declaration of Independence. I'll kind of paraphrase it. All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for the future of their security. That's exactly what we're facing here in the United States. If we don't think that our very livelihood, our very families are under threat, then we haven't been paying attention. During COVID, parents' rights were taken away. Their parents were referred to as domestic terrorists. Our children's personhood was taken away, putting them in masks involuntarily, keeping them in masks while the state was collecting nearly $1 billion in ESSER funds on the condition that our children remain in masks through the end of the school year. You thought it was to save grandma and grandpa, but it was financially driven. As we look at those funds going out in no bid contracts and coming back into campaign accounts, it's called corruption. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of watching it happening at the state level. I've watched the public lands be commandeered through Bureau of Land Management and environmentalists who are using them as a weapon. It's not okay. It's not a political platform for me. That's the reason I'm running for governor, and I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Got some good candidates. Let's do the congressional race next. Dr. Kennedy, would you like to come up next? And some of the candidates are at other events tonight, but they expressed their wishes they could be here. I'll turn the time over to Dr. Kennedy.
Mark, thanks for having me here tonight. Mark Allen's a good friend of mine. I just sure appreciate what he's doing. So I'm Mike Kennedy, running for Congress, Congressional District 3, and I'm proud to say right now on the toes of my shoes, I have Uinta County coal dust because I was at Bonanza, the power plant of Bonanza, just this morning, taking a tour and seeing my friends in Uinta County, because we believe in the state of Utah that we should not disempower ourselves, that we should support our fossil fuels, that the climate crisis is being generated on, the hoax that's going on with that the reality is Utah should be energy independent, and I am going to fight for you to make sure that these environmental regulations are destroying our country and threatening our very existence are destined to DC. So I'm fighting for you for that. When you think of central bank digital currency, I'm asking you right now, are you a big fan of central bank digital currency? Well, myself and Representative Clancy, we passed a bill that actually forbid the central bank digital currency in the state of Utah. I also passed a bill along with Trevor Lee, working with him, to demand that the federal government have the decency to notify us when they're going to drop illegal individuals in our state so that we can respond. So the reality is on this campaign, people say, are you going to fight? The reality is for 10 years in the state legislature, I have been fighting for you against mask mandates, against COVID vaccine requirements, and I'm proud to say that I'm here to fight for you, to make Washington work for you instead of you working for Washington, D.C. I'm Mike Kennedy. I would be honored to have your support, allowing me to be here tonight, and I'll be in the back to answer any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Should have announced a few more. Let's excuse me if I don't recognize everybody's names and faces. If I miss anybody, please let me know. So Chris Herod, I know that he's here. John Dougal. Is there Stuart Pay here? Yeah. Stuart. Catherine. So let's go to that point, please.
I'm grateful to be in this valley. I've ridden, when I was younger, I used to ride my motorcycle up your canyons. It's a beautiful place here. People ask me now why I'm running, and the main thing that I say right now is just to stop the insanity. What we have going on right now in America, we cannot survive it. In 2007, when I entered the Utah legislature, I was a little bit naive. I thought, since I was the only person that had experienced the immigration process from start to finish, that I would be spared the name calling. I simply believe in the rule of law, that people should come to this country. It's the greatest country in the world. But I've been called racist, unchristian, uncompassionate, foaming at the mouth zealot, all because I believe that. Everybody's talking about illegal immigration now. When I was in the Utah legislature, I passed legislation, and unfortunately, the legislature and the governor got rid of my bill, the E-Verify bill. They basically gutted it 2 years ago. One of the things that you get with me is I am a fighter. Before I entered the Utah legislature, I was ranked #1 in the nation in fencing, in the sport of FA. The last Soviet Union fencing champion. Well, I have a record. I planned the first Tea Party here in the state of Utah with David Kirkham. We were protesting, the sad thing in 2009, what we were protesting? $9 trillion. I passed the first human trafficking bill in the state of Utah. In 2007, in public utilities, I quoted Václav Klaus, who said, Václav Klaus was the Czech Republic president. But he said that climate change, in his experience, climate change is the new religion that has replaced communism. I started the Patrick Henry Caucus, fought for public lands, and I'll do that same thing if you're kind enough to send me to Washington, D.C. I promise that I will fight for you. And I ask that you come talk to me, look at my record. I do, I don't just say. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Stuart Pay. I'm running for Congress. To understand who I am, I want to tell you a little bit about me. In the summer of 1996, I enlisted in the Utah Army National Guard. I was sent to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. For those of you that have never been to Fort Leonard Wood or basic training, basic training is broken up into 4 blocks of 2 weeks each. The first 2 weeks, learn how to polish your boots and salute. The second 2 weeks, learn how to fire an M16. The third 2 weeks, learn how to become a warrior. The way that starts is they put you all on a range and everybody's sitting in some bleachers. A drill sergeant walks up in front of you. In our case, he was 6'3". He was from Atlanta, Georgia. He was right out of Central Casting. He's sitting there talking about what you do as a soldier, what it means to be. And at that moment, in the background, you can hear a 50 caliber machine gun start to echo through the hills. And he stops speaking and he says, "Privates, do you hear that sound? When you hear that sound, what do you do, privates?" And he stood there, he paused calmly. He said, "Privates, when you put that uniform on 4 weeks ago, you decided to run to that sound the rest of your life." Now, I had run to that sound before in my life. I was one of the first, I was an early missionary in St. Petersburg, Russia, when the wall came down. As a soldier in Iraq, I got a call in the middle of late at night, as a National Guardsman, I got a call one night that said, "Hey, Stuart, we know we told you you weren't going with this group, but you're actually going. Be ready tomorrow morning, you're leaving Saturday." That was on a Tuesday night. As a lawyer in Salt Lake City, I've represented some of the state's largest clients in very large litigation. I've run to the fight every moment. I will fight for you in Washington, D.C. I have the skills to solve problems, to build coalitions, and to break this country out of the doldrums it finds itself in. My military, legal, and political experience, I was county party chair in Utah County for a couple of years. We went from $15,000 to debt to $50,000 in the black. We helped Burgess Owens into office. Those skills will allow me to succeed in Washington and make the 3rd Congressional District proud. That's why I ask for your vote. Thank you very much.
I'm John Dougal, Frugal Dougal. I'm going to be a little more blunt than the treasurer. Over the last 12 years, I've fought to be your watchdog, to help you hold government accountable. There's a reason why auditors should be independently elected. You need to tell the legislature, you need to tell the governor not to take your vote away. Will you help me with that fight? Will you help me with that fight? Thank you. I'm running for Congress. I want to tell you what we're dealing with back there. A couple of years ago, I drove down I-15, drove past a Prius with a bumper sticker that said, "Stop mining." Think about that for a minute. Stop mining. The 20-something driving that car clearly had no clue where the steel came from, the plastic, the tires. Did I mention it was a hybrid? What about that battery? Completely oblivious. Reagan said, "It's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just so much what they know that just isn't so." That is the logic we're dealing with in Washington, D.C. I've spent years, both as a legislator and as auditor, fighting to get government off your back and out of your wallet. That's what I will continue to do in Congress. That's what you deserve, and I'll be frugal with your time. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Catherine Dolan, and I'm running for Congress, and I want to thank you all for coming tonight, and a special thank you to Mark Allen for inviting us all up and organizing this wonderful event. I really appreciate it. Because I'm not a politician, I want to tell you a little bit about my background and what I am doing up here. I am a mom, I'm a taxpayer, I'm an advocate, and I am sick of the out-of-control spending in Washington. I became a state delegate about 10 years ago, and when I did that, I would go to the candidates and I would say, "Hey, our federal debt is $14 trillion. This is out of control. What are you going to do?" And there are lots of plans and lots of good intentions. And it's been 10 years, and now our debt is $34.5 trillion and growing quickly, and nothing has happened. What we're sending, it's not working. It's not changing. The people in Washington don't understand what that control federal spending does to our families. When out of control government spending causes crazy inflation, it doesn't affect their families the way it does ours. My family feels it, and so do most of the families in the 3rd District. My middle income family felt it when grocery prices doubled. I had kids in diapers when the diaper prices literally doubled. It's not working. If we continue to spend like this, if we continue to send the same politician back to Washington to represent us in Congress, we're going to get the same results. I will go back and pass a balanced budget. That's my #1 priority. It won't be about re-election. It will be about my special interests, the kids, the grandkids, the future of our economy. My name is Catherine Dolan, and I would appreciate your support.
Okay, do we have Zach and Lucky and JR in case? Take you in that order if you're here. Thank you.
Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thank you to Mark and everyone else for making this happen. My name is Zach Wilson. I'm 29 years old. I'm a convention-only candidate. I think a lot of you know what that means. I'm chairman of the Utah Young Republicans. Thank you. And I'm a private equity professional. I am running to restore old values and inspire new voices. Now that is a catchphrase. What does that actually mean? I'll break it down. One, we need to return our government's focus to basic principles, limited government, separation of powers, and federalism. I read, in my spare time, I read the Federalist Papers. I read Common Sense by Thomas Paine. You may call me a nerd. I love it. As my girlfriend over here, we've been dating for 4 months. Our dates are about federalism, so you can think about that. Second, I appreciate that. Second, I am running to rein in the disastrous spending habits. I'll call it an addiction, not habits, back in Washington, D.C. I work in private equity. I studied finance at BYU. I was president of the Finance Society while there. I stand alone in this race for understanding inflation rates, the Federal Reserve. I understand that deeply. Every time the Federal Reserve releases anything, I'm all over it. I read about it. I can tell you what SOFR is today, what LIBOR is today. That is the third reason, and perhaps the most important.
I don't think Lucky's here, so I guess I'm up. But I'm J.R. Bird. I'm running for Congressional District 3, and I really appreciate a lot of the things that have been said tonight. So when you talk about coal dust on your boots, I've got coal dust on my boots. I've got manure on my boots. I'm from the Uinta Basin, born and raised. And so I understand a lot of those things. When you're talking about public lands, when you're talking about, BLM and government overreach, those are things that I've lived my whole life. A little bit about me. Grew up poor, fairly poor, but lived the American dream and was able to start my first business in the oil and gas industry. I became the mayor of my hometown. We talk about the things that we will do when we get to Washington. I want to talk about a little bit about what I've done as a mayor. When I first got elected on the council, I saw a Good Old Boys Club that existed. I led the charge to root out corruption in Roosevelt. Not only that, as soon as that regime was voted out, something that people said would never happen. It had existed for 30 or 40 years. We got them voted out. The very next thing we did is implement term limits. We got that passed. I'm in my second term. I'm done. We talk about things that we'll do, and these are things that I have done. When we talk about the budget and finance, I'm a business owner. I've bought businesses, I've restored businesses, taken them from failing to success. These are things that I'm familiar with. Energy policy. This is my life. This is what I've done for the last 23 years. When we talk about immigration and the border, I've lived with the Latin community and understand the problems that we have. We're incentivizing illegals to come across, and we're penalizing legals. This should not happen. Not only do we not like that, but the people that have come here legally do not like that. We have to stop the illegal flood of immigrants across the border. These are things that I know. These are things that I'm passionate about. These are things that will differentiate myself from the rest of the candidates. birdforcongress.com. Thank you so much. And Mark, thank you for having us tonight. Appreciate it.
So my twin brother from different mother, Senator Hinkins, got his hair cut. I'm not planning on getting mine cut until we clean up our politics. You know, I ingested 1,000 hours of legislative and Senate hearings in January that our Utah legislature participated in. 1,000 hours. 591 bills passed. Governor vetoed 7. I heard a lot of people patting themselves on the back for over the last 10 years or so, $1.2 billion in tax breaks. I did a little bit of math. I appreciate the 12 cents a day break. With that said, Senator Hinkins, would you please report to the pulpit? Senator Hinkins, let's have you lead, and then we'll do our AGs. Thank you.
Thank you. And I first met Mark when we was working on cleaning up American Fork Canyon. I've been in the Senate now for 16 years, and I started out working in the coal mines. I went to Utah Technical College in Provo, and went to work for the U.S. Steel Horse Canyon mine, and I worked there for 3 years till they shut down the Geneva plant in Orem. And because we didn't have coal market, we weren't competitive because we'd been a captive market. I ended up moving back to my hometown in Orangeville, Utah, in Emery County, and started an electrical business, and I repair all the big electric motors for all the coal mines and power plants. And it came to, I went to a mining convention in Carbon County at the Country Club. When Mike Dimitrich, who had been in the legislature for 40 years as a Democrat, he said that the only person that could replace his seat would be a Republican from Emery County. And since all of the boys there were from Carbon County and they were mostly Democrats, then they had endorsed, some of them had endorsed Obama, President Obama, who wanted to kill coal. And so I was basically railroaded into running for the Senate, which I'd never been to the Capitol before. And it's been quite an experience, a real eye-opener, but my real intent is to try to keep the coal-fired power plants operational in the Huntington 100 power plants and keep the mines. When I first started in business, there was 30 coal mines and 7 federal mine inspectors. Now there's 30 mine inspectors and 6 to 7 coal mines. And so you can see what's kind of how a turnaround has been. They've over-regulated the industry. I also, my son's a mining engineer. We have a tungsten mine over in Rachel, Nevada, a tungsten and silver mine that we're trying. Tungsten is no longer mined in the United States. We're completely dependent upon China. 85% of the tungsten comes from there. So when it comes to armor-piercing bullets or to protect our vehicles, tungsten is very important. And so we're trying to rejuvenate that mine. And so I enjoy being in the Senate, and I enjoy representing Daniel, Charleston, and Timber Lakes. I represent 9 counties total, and so thanks for your support.
Let me read off a couple. Let's have Frank and Trent come up for Attorney General. Rachel's up in Logan. She wishes that she could be here. Didn't hear back from Derek Brown. Then after, let's move into our Senate. Pardon me? Then let's go to Brent Hatch, and we have everybody here for John Curtis, Chandler, Jeremy Freebaum, Jason. So we'll go to that. If you remember that order, I can't.
I'm Frank Myler, and I'm running for Utah State Attorney General. I've been married for over 36 years to my wife Debbie back here. We have 5 adult children that have graduated from college. We actually just returned, literally, before we came here, from Phoenix, Arizona, where my second son just got married down there. So we're excited about that. That's really one of the passion that fuels me why I'm running for this race, because I'm pro-family for my family personally, as well as everybody else's. And my motto, you'll see, is trust and experience. I want you to really take this to the bank. I want you to really research every candidate that you can for Attorney General. Google their cases that they've been involved in. 2 candidates, you will find 0 to none. You will find almost no cases in the state of Utah that any of them have litigated. Now, the other thing that's very important is I'm the only one that's had jury trials. That's combat when you're an attorney, having a jury trial. I'm the only one that's argued many times before the Utah Supreme Court. That's also combat, and the Tenth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, other candidates have made these sound like they've filed something to the U.S. Supreme Court. They haven't. I'm the only candidate that's licensed to even practice before the U.S. Supreme Court. And you can Google it, you can find lots of cases. So that's the experience. Why can you trust me? Because they're going to say the same things that I'm saying. In fact, some of them say it better than I say it. But I'm going to tell you why you can trust me, because I've been in the trenches fighting for constitutional rights all 36 years of my practice. And you can take that to the bank. You can research ADF Legal, AllianceDefendingFreedom.org, and you can find the kinds of cases. I've defended pro-life sidewalk counselors against criminal charges in Salt Lake, went to trial, we won. I'm the only candidate that's even had any criminal law experience, and yet that's considered the chief law enforcement officer of the state. You can know that I'm going to fight to protect federal lands every stinking day I'm in that office, because that's the kind of thing that I've been doing. I've been in the trenches fighting. I'm going to get rid of this sanctuary state nonsense, and I'm not going to stop there. You can mention every candidate and ask for you to support me for Attorney General. Thank you.
My name is Trey Christensen. I'm an America First candidate for Utah State Attorney General, and as your Attorney General, I am going to drain the Salt Lake swamp. No, thank you. Let me tell you what that means. We have an utter lack of election integrity in this state, and that is leading to a culture of corruption in this state that is keeping your voice from being heard in the Capitol, and I'm going to fix that. On day 1 of my administration, we are going to begin a full statewide transparent audit of Utah's electoral system. You need to know that your votes as Utah voters count, and only your votes are counting. Now, there's a lot that an Attorney General can do, but you have to stand and go above and beyond, right? You have to have a vision. We have experience. I've been a litigator. I've done cases in complex business litigation in Boston, and I've had cases, pro bono cases, where I protected parental rights. But it's not enough to just go in and do the job. You've got to step above and beyond and have a vision for the future of what you're going to accomplish for the people of Utah, and election integrity is my #1 issue. If you don't have election integrity, you have nothing. And that's what I'm going to fight for day 1 in the office. Second, top cop. Utah's Attorney General is the top cop in the state. That means you need to have relationships with those law enforcement officers. Just because someone's a chief law enforcement officer doesn't mean that they're the state's attorney. They're your attorney against the power of the state when they come for you, even against the power of my own office when necessary. So I will work with local law enforcement, and in particular the county sheriffs, to make sure that your rights are protected. And when we build those relationships, we're finally going to be able to fight what's going on at the southern border and protect our laws and make sure that this never becomes a sanctuary state. That is my biggest issue right now, because that's what's happening. Look, I'm not getting into this race because I want power. I want to pull the power down. I'm not getting into this race for fame. I have the love and adoration of my 4 children, and that's all I need. but I will not allow them to grow up in a state where we become California in 10 years. I will not allow them to grow up in a state that acts like a sanctuary state, and I will not allow my children to grow up in a state where the federal government acts with impunity to take away our rights, take away our lands, and take away our voices. I'm the Attorney General candidate that's been a CEO. I can bring litigation and leadership to this office and protect your individual rights. Thank you.
Several years ago, I found myself in the White House serving as the president's counsel. And a tragedy had happened. A hurricane had hit Puerto Rico, and it had wiped out the electrical grid. All the police abandoned their posts, and the prison guards opened the prisons and took off for home. And I was called by the president and said, you need to get down to the Situation Room now. The Situation Room is just almost exactly like you see it in the movies. Every time you see a movie, and buried in the White House, it's a secure area. And I was there with the chairman and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the deputy chief of staff of the president, several other military officers, and we were deciding whether or not we would send the military in to restore order. And we're getting shortwave radio broadcasts from people, this is a Second Amendment pitch too, they're on top of their stores with shotguns and rifles trying to protect their property because civil order was gone. And I'll never forget when we talked about sending the military in, someone said, can we just send it in with rifles but no bullets? And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said, that's cutting the bologna mighty thin, son. If we go in, we're going in locked and loaded. I learned something that day. You go in locked and loaded. I'm the only candidate in this race that clerked for Robert Bork on the judiciary, a conservative judge who worked for President Ronald Reagan, who worked in the White House, and for 36 years ran the Federalist Society. I helped organize it and run it as the largest conservative legal organization in America. And we helped President Reagan, President Bush Jr., and Donald Trump pick conservative justices for our Supreme Court. And like I told some of you, what lasts longer than the president? That. I'm that bullet. I'm the person to go in locked and loaded. I'm a conservative that walks the walk, just doesn't talk the talk. I've done it. I can hit the road running. I don't need on-the-job training. I hope you'll vote for me. Brent Hatch for Senate. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chandler Tanner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate. I'm running for U.S. Senate because living the American dream has worked really well for me. I'm the grandson of a coal miner, the nephew of a coal miner. My name is Chandler Hinkins Tanner, if you didn't make that connection. I grew up in Orangeville, graduated top of my class from BYU, went to Harvard Law School and got a JD, went on to Oxford and got a master's degree in history from there. Worked in law for a couple of years in New York and then returned to Utah, where 10 years ago, I started a company that supports childhood literacy, provides tools and families with tools and online tools to encourage reading and to make our youth strong readers, which is one of the best things we can do for them. That company has allowed me to return to Orangeville. When I was a little boy, I grew up watching my Uncle David drive around town, go to his shop, and I was inspired to also be an entrepreneur. So I started this company like him with two of my brothers. And we run it for 10 years and sent over 1 million books to families around America and have over nearly 100,000 users of our software. Now I'm back in this small town with 4 kids and my wife. My kids ride their bikes around with friends after school. We have the coal mines and the power plants, and I have to tell you, since my Uncle David is here, I have to say I used to drive around and see a bumper sticker on his truck that said, "Earth first, we'll mine the other planets later." That's a sentiment I think we can all agree with. I love our rural lives. I love our rural areas. I love being in our town of Orangeville. I want to preserve that experience for our kids. I have credentials and abilities that I think could help Utah have a strong representative in the Senate, someone who can command attention there and do great things like we've seen other young senators do in other states, Ted Cruz in Texas, Tom Cotton in Arkansas. They come with a similar background, strong academic credentials, youth and vitality to go in and make a big impact, and I offer the same option for Utah. Please support me at the convention. I'd really appreciate your support and love being here.
Hello, everyone. Trent Staggs, running for U.S. Senate. Mark, thank you for putting this together. I am in this race because the establishment is killing us. In 2018, Tucker Carlson wrote a book entitled Ship of Fools. For far too long, we've been electing folks that go back to D.C. and care more about being part of the establishment than pushing up and standing up against it. You know what? What's typified my career and my 10, now 11 years going on in office in Riverton City is you always stand up to the establishment. I've done it in the way in which I've run this race. I'm the only one that was willing to challenge Mitt Romney. I got into this race in May. We just pushed and explained why he has got a horrible record. He went down from 50 to 30% favorability, said he wasn't seeking re-election in September. Everybody else in this race came in after that fact. Also, in my time, first to endorse President Trump, I was always one that stood up to lockdowns and mandates of any kind as a mayor. Stood up to ESG, inappropriate materials in school, high-density housing. I am proven, I am tested. You know what you're going to get with me. That's why we've got the endorsements of so many. Mark Levin, Charlie Kirk, Kerry Lake, Senator Tommy Tuberville, who came out here and said, look, I'm endorsing Trent Staggs because he's the guy. He supports President Trump. We need 7 or 8 more of him so that we can have a Republican majority again and a majority of people, not just with R's next to their name, but are actual America First constitutional conservatives. That's what I will do day one, be able to work with President Trump in January 25 with this coalition that I've already built. I'm also convention only. How many here are state delegates? We went out, we raised over $1 million. I could have bought signatures like some of these other folks, many that are in the race, but I committed day one, we were only gonna go through the caucus convention system. I'm a man of my word, and that's what we've done. So I'm seeking your support to go ahead and win at convention, and then we will have the ability to go on and beat the establishment folks in this race in the primary in June, and finally get another Mike Lee conservative in the Senate representing us. Thank you.
How you all doing sitting in those flimsy chairs? Can you stretch your legs? Yeah. Okay, come on up. I did want to just mention that Carolyn Pippin is up in Cache Valley, and she did get excused. She sends her regards.
My name is Josh Randall, running for U.S. Senate as well. I'm a major change candidate. I'm only running convention route as well. When I say a major change candidate, the first thing I talk about is faith. I believe there are certain things that need to be done right now in the federal government that are going to require some faith. I mean, I wonder what the eyes of people look like back here when I'm going to talk about some of this stuff, but we need to decentralize the Federal Reserve or decommission it. We have a major problem with the way that it's functioning right now. Our Social Security system needs to be privatized. Our Medicare system needs to be privatized. Our food stamps and Medicaid systems need to go back to the states. These are major changes. A lot of people in this race, I feel like I'm a CPA. I'm the father of 6 kids under the age of 10. I wonder how many people want to become CPAs in this stage. Just by raise a hand, how many would like to be a CPA? But that's the type of work that's needed right now in Congress. Somebody who reads through laws, finds the financial ramifications, and makes the changes. And some of them might take miracles. We need faith to perform miracles right now in Congress. The founding fathers did it this way, with a faith to perform miracles. And I'm telling you, these are the answers. I can help with these answers. That's the reason that I'm running. If we don't send a major change candidate, it's really not going to matter who you send. because they're going to do the same thing that's been done for the last 50 years. If we don't send a major change candidate with the faith and the willingness to go stare at the numbers and read through the laws, it won't change. Josh Randall, running for U.S. Senate, I appreciate your vote at convention. Thank you.
Just have to say, Buck, you're really controlling this meeting nicely. Thank you. Let's jump over to Senate Race 24. We have Brad Daw here. Kevin Stratton's unavailable to meet with us, but he does have a booth back here. Didn't hear back from Dan Hemmert. Senator Bramble did call today. He withdrew from the race, and we're going to invite him up to take a look at the Wallsburg Museum one of these days.
Thank you, Mark. My name is Brad Dye. I'm running for Senate District 24. That covers part of Orem, part of Provo, and all of Wallsburg. I want you to know I grew up in Shelley, Idaho. It has a grand total of 1 stoplight, so in my opinion, Wallsburg is exactly the right size. This is my first time being in a town hall up here. I guarantee you, if I'm elected, it will not be my last. I love meeting with the people. I love returning and reporting, and you'll get tired of me just coming up here, but I would love to be able to have that opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, I have served in the legislature for 14 years in the House. I can tell you not just what I'm going to do, but what I have done. I have fought against healthcare mandates as the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee and will continue to do so. I have opposed taxpayer-funded stadiums for people who have to spend $100 a ticket. That's not right. That's not a wise use of taxpayer money, and I will oppose that. Here in Utah, we love legal immigration, and that's what I will support. The rest of you, we like you to go back and come into the country the way that the law specifies. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, one more thing I want to say very bluntly. In my opinion, DEI is DOA. Thank you.
Mark, thanks so much for putting all this together. My name is Michael Cook. I'm running for Senate District 25. That's Mike McHale's district. I don't believe in nepotism in the government, and I don't believe that someone should legislate and draft the bills and then his brother-in-law sign it into law. The reason I'm here is because many of you know that our state flag was taken away from us without us being able to go to ballot. I'm not even from Utah. I'm from Idaho. But I believe that your voice is most important. And your voice was taken from you. After 176 years, touching something as precious as our beautiful flag. And here's what I think. Many people would come up to me as I was gathering the 8,000 signatures. I personally gathered over 8,000 signatures. I was out there in the cold, but I was doing it so that we did not become a California. There are many people that would come up to my table and say, because I was at Gunny's, I know that they're already an American first, like I am, type of a person. I know that they're my people. So that's who I would go to, and I would, and they would say, I escaped California. I'm so grateful to be in Utah. Where do I sign? Okay. This is the reason I got in the race. But let me tell you, because I'm going against the brother-in-law of Governor Cox, the LG is blocking me at the ballot box. And I need your help. I've only got 7 days. My area is from Provo North, Provo North all the way down to Payson. And it includes Salem, Woodland Hills, everything. If you would, please take a flyer from me and see what I'm all about, when you scan that. But I've only got 7 days because I am also a convention only, but she's not allowing it. She says the only way that you're gonna get on the ballot you've got to gather 2,000 signatures verified from people in your district. And even if you were to go to convention and you were to win, we're not going to certify your win. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Michael Cook, District 25 against Mike McKell, brother-in-law to Cox. Thank you so much.
Gathering signatures is no easy task. I did a couple hundred, so I salute you for your efforts. When I gathered signatures up here, many of the farmers had no idea. Probably still don't. If we could, let's have the assessor, the incumbent first, and then we'll have Bob Adams. So Todd first.
So I am running for re-election of the Wasatch County Assessor's Office. I have been the assessor for 3 years. I have been in the assessor's office for almost 10 years. And during that time, I have learned a lot about Utah state tax law and the administration of assessments. Undoubtedly, most everybody in this room from Wasatch County had received the shock of a lifetime in the last 2 years. I'm sorry. I had to do it, and the reason being is when I took office, the Wasatch County Taxpayers Association brought it to the council's attention and my attention that there was a great uneven taxation for the county, and it was through the assessment process. It was because that the main central part of the valley with high turnover was the most probable place where the assessments were taking place, and there was multiple areas of the county that was not being reassessed. I had no choice. I was under audits from the state auditor's office, the Utah State Tax Commission, who was also audited by the state auditor's office. I had the state legislature inquiring, the governor's office inquiring. I had everybody watching this problem, and I had to cure that problem that year. I couldn't do it. I didn't have enough time. The first year I was in office for 4 months, and then we closed the tax roll. I had 1 more year to get it in. 2022 was the year of the biggest increases that we've had. I had to do that. There's laws, and I will send everybody a copy of that law by email, all the delegates. I need your vote April 2nd so that I can continue on. For the first 3 years, all I've done is get the county as a whole caught up together. We are all now on the same level playing field. Is it perfect? No. But I'm working on it, and I haven't stopped working since the day I started. I've been here for every one of you. I can look every one of you in the eye and say, I work for you every single day. You're on the top of my mind every minute of every hour that I'm in that office, and I ask for your vote on April 2nd.
My name's Bob Adams. I'm running for Wasatch County Assessor. In my opinion, we need to look at the audits that have been done, because they're third-party independent audits, and come up with a plan on how we're going to implement those. It needs to be a lot of detail, and there needs to be a lot of daylight on it. We need to let the public know and report to the public what's needed and what we have to do. My background is in city management. I have had the reputation of being a fixer, where I go into organizations that have not been doing what they should be doing and straighten them out. And I had a good success record doing that during my 40-plus year career. I'm a court-validated expert witness on local government issues, and I am also a government organizational efficiency consultant. And I think that we can do it better. I believe that we should start with transparency, make sure that we are open in how we develop our assessments and our evaluations so people know how they're done. I believe we need to have steps on how we can improve or how we can appeal the process if we need to, and need to understand what is required to have a successful challenge. I also want to use citizens committees to look at various aspects of the assessor's office, because that's the best way to get information out to the people, is to have the people here. We have to listen to the people as elected officials, and I think not enough of that is being done.
In my first 100 days on the job, I want to be proactive and not reactive. I want to implement best management practices. I want to prepare a review and action plan, and as I mentioned before, of the auditor's reports. I want to determine customer service training needs in the office of staff so that we have better respect for the public. Also, develop information sheets just on the whole process so people understand how it works and it's not a mystery or a stealth government office. I also believe in advocacy for the people. And by advocacy, I mean we need to know how we are going to address, help people address those things, and also help lobby at the state level for relief for people on fixed incomes and starting families. So I am Bob Adams, running for Wasatch County Assessor, and I need your vote. Thank you.
Okay, why don't we do Wasatch County seat B? We have Melvin McQuarrie and Colleen and Nick. You have that order?
My name's Melvin McQuarrie. I'm running for seat B for county council. I've been a resident of Wasatch County since 1977. Finished my last 2 years of high school in the Valley. Seen a lot of change. Got an education in civil engineering, a master's degree, and I'm also a land surveyor. I've been an employee of many in the county over the years. I'm now semi-retired, meaning I somewhat am retired. Anyhow, I have the time to fill this position. I have a vast knowledge over the experience of the last 35 years. The reason I ran for the position is Steve has not run, and he's, in my opinion, done very well over the years. There was a vacancy, and so I filled it. Nobody prodded me to do this. Nobody asked me to do this. I just thought it would be a good idea. I will promise one thing: I'm honest, I'm logical, and I speak my mind, but I'm teachable, and I will work with the other members of council in all decisions. And you usually come up with the best one. I served as almost a full term appointed in City of Page in 98 through, I think, about 2001. And I learned that very thing. You take everything up and down on the merits, and you make the right decision, and usually the right decisions with the group. I have I will end it there. Thank you.
Feel like I'm coming through the curtain at the Tonight Show or something. I'm Nick Lopez. I am a retired U.S. Marine Sergeant Major. I spent 25 years in the Marine Corps, retiring as a Sergeant Major. I'm a combat veteran of Iraq in 2003, and I was serving in the Gulf War in 1991. I worked full-time for the Salt Lake City Fire Department. I've been doing that for 30 years. My time in the Marine Corps, I should note that it was active and reserve time. But I spent 30 years in the fire department, and I'm currently still working for the fire department because I love it. And the reason I want to run for office here is because I've got a lifetime of proven leadership, both in the Marine Corps and in the fire department, and my service to others. That's what I want to do. That's what I chose my whole life to do. And I've been serving this nation. I've been serving this community of Salt Lake City as a firefighter, and I've been doing things within the community here based on those things. You may have seen the banners of veterans on Main Street in Heber. That's a project that I started with the encouragements of an idea from a resident. I've done I got a name, I renamed or worked with the city council and got the only veteran killed in Vietnam, a street named after him in Heber, Blaine Welch, was killed, young Lance Corporal. I also got a World War II, there was two brothers, the Jones brothers, and they one of them didn't come home from World War II. We got a park named after him. I'm here because I got a lifetime of service. I know I can do a great job for Wasatch County. I got the fortitude and everything you've ever heard about a Marine, about digging in and fighting for his troops. That's me. And I look at the residents as the same way. The motto of the Marine Corps is Semper Fidelis, and that I live by that, and I will always live by that. So I'm here to serve you. Thank you.
Okay, let's do Wasatch County Seat D. We have Kendall and Mary.
Thank you. I appreciate being here, and thank you, Mark, for putting this together. I'm a state delegate, and I've appreciated the opportunity to listen to these different candidates that we'll be looking at the end of April in the state convention. Appreciate that. I'm running for re-election on County Council Seat D. I think in my time that I've been in that office, I've proven that I'm committed to put forth the time needed to do the job and to learn about the issues. I've been about county business since 7:30 this morning. Visited Sanpete County to learn more about one of the committee assignments I'm on, one of the 15+ committees I'm on. And it's been a good day. It's been a full day, but I've learned a lot to take back to continue with that assignment. As a county councilman, I'm experienced. As I said, I'm on 15+ committees. Most of those, I end up eventually the chairman of the committee. I've been on chairman of most of the committees I've been on. And I've worked hard to learn. When issues come before, as we go before, I've taken the time to learn what the issue is. I'm fair-minded. I'm willing to listen to anybody, hear your opinion. If you bring up something I wasn't aware of, I take the time to find out and learn about it, and committed to do that and continue to do that. Just to close up a little bit, appreciate Todd running. Just a word for Todd. He's worked hard in the 3 years he's been here to correct problems that were created, many problems were created by the prior two assessors that you elected. Let's not make that same mistake this time around and get somebody in. Let's put somebody that's proven they're doing it and they can do it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Williams, and I am running for you for Wasatch County Council. I acknowledge that a lot of these people back here want to do a lot of good things, but I also acknowledge that we can't trust our elections. And we can't trust that we will have what we need to get done in the state. So I'm running because I feel that if we're going to save this country, we need to save it at a county level. We need to hand count our elections here. Yes. We need to be able to set a precedence for other counties. We need to be able to say no to the federal government. We need to be able to say no to the state government. I am a mother of 8. I own a business, and running for this council, I would take a pay cut. I don't need that. I would be busier. I don't need that. But I do need to be able to stand before my God and know that I did what I need to do. I had people call me and ask me to run for this position, and I'm standing up to do that because I have also been a chairman for many volunteer organizations. I've worked with a soccer club, Park City Soccer Club is one of their heads for the last 11 years. That's how much they loved me doing it. So I do know how to make things happen. And I've heard a blessing that there was a blessing upon this county, I don't even know, 100 years ago, that said that the greatest healers on the earth would come to this valley. to Wasatch County. And for a long time, me having been in the medical field, and then now I'm in a natural healer, I thought that that was what it was, and now I realize that it is to heal this country. And that's what we're gonna do in this county, is heal this country. Thanks, Mary Woods.
Why don't we do the state auditor next? We've got Tina Cannon and Ricky Hatch. Tina, would you like to go first?
I keep looking for the primary step stool in here. Surely they have it. Underneath, I know we used to be able to lower these. People keep asking me, are you sure you're tall enough to run for state auditor? And I keep answering, of course, I'm the perfect size. I'm in stealth mode. No one ever sees me coming. And now you know why, because you can't see me behind the microphone either. So I'm Tina Cannon, and as we've talked about just recently, that was my audit. I'm currently in the state auditor's office. I'm a senior policy advisor. I have a background in accounting, spent my life in the private sector, finding out whose money that was that we collected. The most important quality in a state auditor is a backbone, because sometimes you say the hard things. And sometimes you need to understand what it means when there's a tax shift from one set of the county to another. And you ought to be willing to say it. And when people haven't been taxed correctly for 5 years, you ought to say it. And it's unfortunate that we can't own where we were, because this little thing they gave me up here says, that which is measured improves. That which is measured and reported on, improves exponentially. That's what we do every day. We stand for fiscal compliance and we stand for statutory compliance. We should follow the law in government. We make you follow the law. Government should follow the law too. I'm Tina Cannon. I'm running for your state auditor. Appreciate your vote on April 27th.
Hi, my name is Ricky Hatch. I'm running for state auditor. We have a world full of symbols, and each one has its own meaning and unique symbol. There is one symbol that stands out for its brain power, for its simplicity, and that represents total nerdiness. That symbol is the pocket protector. Now, that symbol is not as weighty as the cross or the symbol of a dove, but it symbolizes diligence and it symbolizes intellect. And as your state auditor, I will be your ultimate pocket protector, protecting your pockets from waste, from fraud, from abuse, from the inefficiencies of government overreach. I have a 30-year track record as an auditor across multiple sectors, and I understand good auditing, and I understand good governance. My motto is that you build a fence at the top of the cliff rather than an ambulance at the bottom. I am the only CPA in this race. I am the only auditor in this race. Trust me, you want a nerd protecting your pockets, protecting your rights to your inalienable rights to property, to the money in your pockets. I'm Ricky Hatch. I am a CPA. I'm a total nerd, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
My father had one of those pen protectors. State school board. Anybody have interest in school board issues? Or should we call it a night? No. Before we do that, can I see a hand? County delegates here? Yeah, very good. State delegates? Very good. It's been amazing. So is the school board the last one that we haven't done? Has anybody not spoken? Region, you are the surveyor. I have talked to you before on the phone. He is amazing. I'm glad you're here. We'll give you, let's do the school board, then we'll have you come up, okay? Thank you, Jim. I was on the Board of directors for the Utah Stream Access Coalition, trying to figure out how to protect access below the Heber, or below Deer Creek. And Jim provided a very important document that showcased perhaps a scrivener's error, a typographical error that puts the easement up on the mountain. So if we can't get access to the Provo River, my proposal is we move the mountain. Why don't we go with James first, then Cole?
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be with you, Wasatch. Jim Moss, I'm from up the road in Midway, so it's great to see a lot of friends and neighbors here. I am running for re-election to the state board. I'm the current representative of District 12, which goes from Orem up to Midway and out to Vernal. I'm also serving as the current chair of the state board. So since I'm up for election, I'd like to report what I've been up to. I'm a lawyer by day. I also teach political science at UVU. Got 5 kids here in the public school system. 3 are grown, 2 are still here. So that's what drives me to do what I do. When I ran on academic excellence, freedom, and flexibility. And I'd like to tell you what I've done there. When I came on the board, the mission statement of the Utah State Board of Education was that we advance equitable conditions. We decided equitable can take you down all kinds of roads. So we changed it. It's now academic and organizational excellence. That's what USB does. Everything flows from that. Let me tell you how I've supported freedom and flexibility for parents, for teachers, and for students. First, I worked, believe it or not, we didn't have at the state board a person at the top line leadership devoted exclusively to parents and parents' rights. So I changed that. I worked with the leadership of the legislature to get funding for a parent liaison engagement specialist. That person, we hired her, great charter director from out in Vernal. She's currently analyzing parent complaints, reaching out to resolve them, and working with schools to improve constructive parental engagement. Second, I proposed and passed, I wrote a rule that said a teacher cannot invite, suggest, or encourage a student to reconsider or change their sexual orientation or gender identity. Parents need freedom. Parents need freedom from divisive ideologies. We got that passed. A similar bill didn't quite pass the legislature, but I'm here to say it's already locked because we passed it last November. It also prohibited advancing of partisan ideologies, and it required every school that gets a complaint from a parent about teacher misconduct to report it to our licensing division. No black holes, no wondering what happened by parents. It comes to us so we can decide if they did the right thing or if we have to take action ourselves. Finally, we worked to repeal an educational equity rule. When we didn't have the votes, we reworked it and we turned it into the equal opportunity rule. We tracked recent legislative changes on anti-CRT and anti-DEI. I worked with the legislature on both of those and we passed that last fall as well. For teachers, teachers often get locked in with the union, steps and lanes. You go up one step at a time. I worked with Candace Perucci, the chair of the House Education Committee, to create a new lane, a new path for teacher leaders. Stay in the school. You don't have to become a principal. You're recognized and paid for your merit in instructional leadership in your building. For students, I helped change our social studies standards. Believe it or not, Brigham Young was not in our Utah social studies standards. That seemed a bit off, so I got them added. We did a number of things. I worked with the, excuse me, I'm cottonmouth. I worked with the UVU Center for Constitutional Studies to get things added to support. Are you saying I'm out of time? I'm sorry, I was waiting for the buzzer. All right, I'll wrap up from there. I've also worked for students and teachers to get freedom by supporting charter schools and the voucher bill that was passed last fall. There's a lot of challenging things going on in Utah, but there's a lot of good things. I've enjoyed my term on the board. I hope you'll send me back for a second term. Thank you.
I've been a school teacher for 27 years. I'm a unique brand of school teacher. I am a conservative teacher. I've spent 27 years kind of battling against my teachers union. I stand against the ideology of my teachers union. And I think it's important that we send representatives to our state school board that are going to stand against the teachers union. My teachers union will campaign against me, okay, as a school teacher. One of the things I want to emphasize, if there's only 2 of us in this race, if you like the direction that our schools are going in terms of the curriculum that's being pushed into our schools, stay with the incumbent. If you want to see somebody that's going to fight against it and that's going to stand up against it, I'm a wrestling coach. You think I know how to fight? Elect a wrestling coach, okay? And I'm in Heber Valley, so come on, guys, you know what that's about, right? I just want to use this example. What's happening right now in the state of Utah is that we've got a good legislature. They will pass a bill like the sensitive materials bill, where they're trying to get pornography out of our schools. We will have an attorney general who will write an opinion on that will say we need to get sensitive materials out of our school and get pornography out of our schools. And then we have a weak state school board who's not implementing the law and not getting those books out of our school. And we need strong leadership at the State Board of Education that's going to follow up on the legislation that's being passed by our legislature and get the crap out of our schools that our children should not be exposed to at a young age. We're not talking about banning books. We're talking about getting pornography out of our schools. My name's Cole Kelly, and I'm a convention-only candidate, and I hope that you'll vote for me on April 27th. Thank you.
Understand Colleen Bonner just came in. Is that true? Would you like to speak? Can you do a cartwheel on your way up? Tina left her mark here. So we'll just let Jim be our anchor. So Tina, why don't you come first?
So, hi, I'm Colleen Bonner, and I am running for the Wasatch County at-large seat. And I held my own cottage meeting tonight, and so I'm sorry I'm late. And I tried to get to Bob's event earlier and did my own thing. And I said, I gotta run at least to Wallsburg and, see what they're doing and, come for the invitation that was given. And so, first of all, just thank you all for being here and for being willing to be delegates for the county and the state. It's you guys who make a difference in our community. If we don't get the grassroots and the local people to show up, then our government just doesn't work the way it needs to work. So thank you for being willing to, first of all, come and to be a delegate for the county. Just one thing that I want to just really encourage those of you who are delegates, and if you are a chairman in your precinct, please make sure your delegates get to the county convention next Tuesday night. We have to have a quorum, which is, we have roughly 250, I don't know the exact number, of delegates. You have to have 50% of those, and to even have a quorum and to be able to vote. So it's really important, not just to show up here, but to show up where it really matters, and where it really matters is at the convention. So I was on the Midway City Council for 12 years, and I was the mayor of Midway for 4 years. And so what I feel like I can bring to Wasatch County is just that experience of being able to work with the citizens. And I have somewhat of a working knowledge of how government works and what the roles are and what the roles should be. And I think it's super important in Wasatch County as we grow and our future, we need to decide what that future looks like and work together as a community, as a whole, all of us, to set some boundaries for what we want this county to look like. So anyway, just there you go. Thank you very much. And make sure you're at the convention on Tuesday night.
I'm Jim Kaiserman. I'm the county surveyor for reelection. I've been the county surveyor for nearly 4.5 lustrums. If you don't know what a lustrum is, you haven't watched enough John Wayne movies. The county surveyor kind of goes under the radar until somebody has a problem with their property. And then they come beating a path to my door. I understand the state code. I understand boundary law, not an attorney, but I understand boundary law because I've been around it a long time. I make the decisions on what the law is, what the code is. I call a spade a spade. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people come in my office, go away disappointed because they're wrong, period. And I call a spade a spade. And I kind of go by the song we sing in church. Do what is right and let the consequences follow. Sometimes these consequences are not good. But again, that's my motto. I do what's right by you to help you protect your property. Thank you.
I didn't know what a surveyor really did until a few years ago. I had the good fortune of buying a half acre in the middle of all the snowbirds property and started a nonprofit. And then we took the Surveyor General of the United States, Fran Eichbush, you probably know well, and we spent 10 days up there with high-tech satellite equipment, and the old timers used steel chains and mules. And when I asked Kevin Bishop how close, how accurate they were, he said to the centimeter. So you young kids, if you want a cool job, be a surveyor. You're outdoors, you see the wildlife, you get good exercise, and you hold your age well. Thank you, everybody, for the coming. We're going to break from here now, and we can reconvene back there, stay as long as you want, and talk delegates to the candidates. A round of applause for everybody that came, and please. Get your friends out. Let's get the vote done. The next legislative session, whoever wins, I'm coming at you to get cameras in courtrooms. Thank you.
Man, that was that quick. Well, they all
That's education.
See if we can get some candidates on camera here. Look at these two guys.
There we go.
People strong conservatives here.
There we go.
Absolutely. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
My camera, I had the wrong camera when we talked earlier. We'll have to do an interview sometime.
Okay.
All right. I'll reach out to your office. Seeing you, Phil.
It's good to be here.
How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you.
Hey, the number one question on everybody's mind that's considering a governor candidate is, what are your pronouns?
If you have to ask, then you're asking the wrong candidate.
Oh, man. In all seriousness, though, what really sets you apart from the other people running against Governor Cox?
Well, I've got experience, and if people wonder if I will stand up, I will, and I thrive on that. I look forward to taking on the federal government. I think it was Ronald Reagan said, the government's not the solution to our problem. They are the problem. And the only thing that's going to save us is a strong state. Federal government's not going to step in and save us. Whether we're talking about the southern border or our second grade classrooms, we are in the middle of an invasion. And if states are willing to lay back and watch that happen, then I guess we deserve what we get. In Utah, I don't think we're willing to watch that happen.
Definitely. You've been getting attacked a lot by the fake news over at the Salt Lake Tribune.
Oh, yeah. Actually not as much as I would have thought. They're
really?
Yeah. I mean, Salt Lake Tribune, they serve an important role, and they are a barometer. Usually you can tell which direction you should be going by if they're opposing you. But no, the Trib fills an important role. There was a time I wish they would go away, but I don't really feel that way anymore. They do a lot of good. Cool. Actually, it's very honest.
We appreciate you running, Phil. And who do you like for AG?
Well, I like Trent Christensen a lot. I love the way he takes on head on with the elections. That's really important to me. So I like that. I like how he stands up for the governor, or goes against the governor appointing an AG, and speaks really boldly about that. Frank Mylar also seems to be, just a real honest, quality candidate. I'm not one of those that says that the AG should even have to be an attorney. I think whoever the people elect, they should be a good leader and hire really good attorneys and make sure that they go out and, sue the federal government the way they should be doing. So yeah.
A question about signature gathering. I understand you guys were gathering signatures at the start of your campaign. Are you still doing that?
We are in the process of pulling back on that, just because it doesn't look like we're going to get the 28,000. We had done it as a hedge against a caucus out of control, like we saw 4 years ago, where they didn't even have the caucus meetings, didn't elect new delegates. And if that caucus had gone really sideways, then we would have put a lot more effort into the signature gathering. As it is, the delegates seemed like it was a fair process, and we've been pulling the delegates. And we feel like it's not worth putting the burden on other people, because it's all volunteer effort getting the signature. So I think we're going to pull back on that.
One thing I've been worried about is that if, let's say, Carson or Sylvia, I've been worried that if somebody else gets the nomination and then you gather signatures, get on the ballot, then we're going to split the vote and just end up with coordinate Governor Cox for a second term. And that's one of the things I'm worried about. If you finish gathering signatures, get on the ballot, somebody else wins the convention, what do you think happens at that point?
Well, I don't think the signature thing is a concern. And if there's 3 people on the primary ballot and I'm in the last place, I'll drop out and support the second place person or whoever else is running against Cox. The last thing we want is divide that. Cox won with 36% last time. I don't think he's going to get a lot more than that going forward. So, I would back up the nominee.
If you were elected governor and a bill came to your desk to overturn SB 54 signature gathering, would you sign it?
I've said I've told legislators I won't sign any of their bills until they bring me an SB 54 repeal bill.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. That one's got to go. We need to install a state secretary of state. And that's another one that I want to do right up front. Let's get a secretary of state to oversee the elections, repeal SB 54, empower the legislature to actually do their job instead of deferring to the executive branch to do that.
We need a secretary of state. You're right.
We do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Let's see who else we can find over here. I'm walking away from the receiver, so if the mic starts to break up, I think I actually switched the camera this time. So previously, my camera was on the wrong camera, but see if we can find anybody that wants to talk. Nice job up there. Yeah. I had the mic working last time we spoke, but not the camera. So the whole thing is just like pointed at an empty podium, but you and I are talking in the background. So we're gonna have to talk again. I'm gonna reach out to you to do like an interview, okay? My name's Adam Bartholomew. I'm a precinct chair in Payson. I'm a state delegate, and also I do I just live stream as many debates and forums as I can to kind of get the word out to the delegates that can't make it everywhere.
That's
so
true.
yeah.
Yes.
So I'll give you a call. We'll do a Zoom interview, okay?
Okay,
Cool.
let's do that.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How's the campaign going?
Good. It's going really good. This is
Cool.
a great event here tonight. The delegates are excited.
Cool. I was just talking to Phil about splitting the vote. If somebody's gathering signatures and somebody wins convention, he said they're backing away from signature gathering. But I think I asked you this before. Are you going to stand behind?
Absolutely, and that's why I only not signatures only, convention only in the first place. I'm the only candidate that's not getting signatures. I'll to get signatures. I believed in that in the first place, and the only way we're going to win is not vote, and who convention wins.
Definitely. If Governor has to SB 54 and eliminate just benefits, wealthy candidates, will you sign that bill?
Sure. I will absolutely not champion getting rid of 54 since the beginning, and as chair, I did even now to this day when everybody else gathers signatures. I'm a convention only candidate in the race, and so I'll stand by it now.
What about separating the powers of the lieutenant governor and making our own secretary of state? Is that something you support?
Absolutely. I've seen the past. I know that I think I have the separation of powers in election year. When you see people the only election, it's not should be, and especially when they're sitting of other people's commission, committee, you can't have that. Or who's overseeing elections at the same time.
Everybody wants to know. I know you were on Tucker Carlson after Governor Cox went viral. One thing people know is what are your pronouns?
I don't have pronouns. I know what I learned in school.
All right, thanks. Hey, thanks.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey. Christensen. How you doing? America first.
Absolutely.
How's it going?
Really well.
Nice job up there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How's the campaign going?
Loving it. Loving it. We were just down in Washington County, did 4 events on Friday, won the straw poll at the Washington County Convention on Saturday. The message is resonating. And that's what's so encouraging to me is we just got to get out and talk to people because people want to have a state attorney be their voice.
Cool. What I've heard you talk about this on the stand, but what power does the Attorney General have to affect the national illegal immigration problem we have down at the southern border?
Yeah. Never let anyone tell you that illegal immigration is only a federal issue. That's wrong. State issue because they're violating state laws. Let me say this really quick. On a general level, the state is the single most important and check against the other branch of government that the citizens have, and that's at a state level, but also at a federal level. Okay, state attorney generals can sue the federal government. So what Texas is doing down on the border, they're suing so that they can protect their border. Well, we have issues in Utah where we can sue the federal government. We don't just have to support Texas. We should. We have our own loose lawsuit that we file against the federal government to protect our laws and protect our people. But you need to have a general that's going to stand up and do that, right? And I want to work with the county sheriffs. Trust me, the county sheriffs want to enforce our laws, and by enforcing our state law, we're going to be able to take care of the immigration problem in our state, secure our border, fentanyl out, get the drug trafficking, sex trafficking out. We can do that all here without any worry about federal law or getting involved with the feds. We can sue them on our issues, a two-front war against the federal government.
Cool. I had somebody ask me a question on the stream about something about SEL in schools, DEI, and they said that you were on some board of something that, and my wife had said you guys made an alternative for that to combat like a state requirement. Do you have any? Can you just give us a quick rundown on that?
Yeah, my oldest daughter's autistic, so I got involved with an organization that had $1 million from the National Science Foundation to develop a curriculum to help kids skills, eye contact, self-talk. It's an amazing program. It has amazing results. So 2 years ago, we went to the legislature and we said we'd like researchers from the U and study this program for kids because depression rates skyrocketed, anxiety skyrocketed. You had suicide rates that were unbelievable during the pandemic, Zoom school, all that, right? So this program, we got a $1.2 million grant from the legislature. 100 schools on the list right now that want this program to help learn these skills. It's not CASEL, it's not it's not CRT, critical race theory. It's teaching kids going to follow them their whole life. It's at teachingitright.com. It's obviously separate from the campaign. It's a project of mine because of my daughter. Teachingitright.com. The program is called We Are, and it has unbelievable results to help kids learn the skills, critical skills, self-confidence, self-love, self-positive talk, to help them and lower suicide rates.
Cool, I appreciate that. One more question. You had a hit piece up from the Salt Lake Tribune recently talking about how you were not licensed on the Utah bar or something to practice in front of the Utah Supreme Court. I understand you're working on remedying that. Do you have just like a quick response to that article?
Yeah, well, Brian Schott's coming after you. You're doing something right. They're scared of my candidacy, and that's why Brian Schott come get me, right? I've been licensed to practice law since 2009. Massachusetts, I have my bar. People that have licenses, right? So I'm practicing, but I have it's being right now at the bar. It should be done in the next month. Should have been done 5 months ago, but they take it's fine. But the only thing to say about that is, Brian, if you're listening, because I know you're listening, next time you have a hit piece on me, at least use a picture with my beard, because he used an old picture, and I have a beard now.
It's a good-looking beard. Mine's all gray. I'm jealous. All right, one more. You talked about this about the the governor's brother-in-law to make it an appointed position, the attorney general. Down with him, he actually had some points that about that. What's the main argument against that? Why is that a bad idea?
Like but the check against the other branches of government people, and if consolidated under the governor, you've just taken the most important that you as a citizen have and put it off the board and handed it to your opponent, handed it to the governor. The independent office needs to work with the governor, work with the legislature, but stand up and say no when they have to say no. There's a mask could have stopped that is the Attorney General. Vaccine mandate, right? Anything that's constitutional, that's the Attorney General's job to stand immediately. No, we're not going to do that. It goes away if he's appointed by the governor. Then he has permission from the governor to actually do his job. And right now we have an independent Attorney General, and we need to keep him independent so he doesn't take anybody's permission to protect your individual rights. And that's what I'm going to do.
Thank you very much for running.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, man.
Stuff to say.
Thanks, man.
Awesome, Craig. Love you, man.
Appreciate it.
Mike Cook. We just talked about your opponent here. Mike, how you doing?
Very good, man. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Good. It's so good to see you. Good to be here at this event. It's awesome.
What separates you from Mike McKell?
Well, my brother-in-law's Cox. That would be one. And he's a lawyer that actually he teed up this and so on. He brother-in-law to law or into law. Attorney General, you were just talking about that. That's what he wants to do, to appoint our next Attorney General. He wants his brother-in-law, Cox, Governor Cox, to be able to sign that into law. No, that's, there's only 5 states in the union that actually have AGs appointed. No, we aren't that. Okay. The other thing is he wants to appoint our school boards. He wants to appoint our treasuries and so on. No. We can't have those positions. They have to be elected by the people. And another thing is Mike McKell voted against our beautiful state flag that had been flying here in the state of Utah for over 176 years proudly. Why would they ever touch our flag? Because people here in Utah said no. Okay, that's another reason that I'm here in the race, because I could see that our voices were being taken away. Or even, communist China. Chance to be able to vote, we need to be able to have with what he's done and the bill he's passed, usurping the voice away from the people, and he's taking it more to the administration and the legislature. That's wrong. The people have to have a voice, and we need to stand for what's right. The other thing that sets us apart is that he wanted to campaign for Nikki Haley as your next in-chief and president of the United States. Are you kidding me? No. America first. I need to make sure that America is first, and that everything that's going on with the what's going on, aliens, and says that there are Americans. Are you kidding me? We've got people that have been in line. That's the way we need to do it. We need to stand up to the things that are going on here in our state, because we're going in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
How do people find out about you or sign up to help you in your quest to get on the ballot?
Thank you. From unconstitutionally, from the Lieutenant Governor, Deidre Henderson, we have a plan to be able to get over the signature threshold, which is against every standard. Is 2000 from people who are registered Republican in my area, and doing tomorrow, doing it beyond probably Saturday. Well, and close. We're going to be at the. We're going to have volunteers all over the district to those post offices, and that's how they help us get. We need to get, which we Spanish Fork. So it'd be from, and then you would have Salem, you'd have Elkridge. On the other side, Benjamin and Lake, and then have all the way north, and then West Mountain. And there are slivers of Utah. So have slivers.
Okay.
So an interact that is interesting.
Cool.
But then the other thing that they can do is they scan. Just you are okay. Go to ucp.org and then scroll down to where it's state. See my picture there, and they click on and go right to my website. A contract for myself.
Cool.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, man. Cole, is this Chuck Norris?
What's that? This guy right here?
Yeah, kind of looks like it.
Compliment, by the way. Yeah.
I know.
Chuck said vote for me too. So,
Chris Herod. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
You've been on the ballot before.
I have.
How's the campaign going?
I feel great about it. I think there's going to be, it's kind of a jungle primary is the way that it's going to be. And so I hope that my core support's there, and I think you have a good chance.
Are you gathering signatures?
I'm convention only.
I like that.
This has been an awesome event. You guys did great putting this.
Cool, thank you. I just showed up. They told me to show up. I did.
Well, thank you very much.
What separates you? What really sets you apart from the other guys running for the same office for U.S. Congress District 3?
Well, take for example, everybody's now talking about illegal immigration, and I've been fighting the issue for 17 years now. And so I think the thing that separates me is while everybody else talks about things, you can look at my record, look at my op-eds. I have almost a dozen op-eds on the dangers of illegal immigration. Everybody's talking about it. I the first party in the state of Utah. Everybody's talking about the debt. I actually did something about it. I fought for the federal lands that people are talking about. I have a bill still on the books for I left in 2012, but no governor or AG has had the courage to use it. And it's determined who is the sovereign, the federal government or the state. I believe the state is, and that we have ultimate sovereignty over public lands in the state of Utah.
There's a group on the web called Unusual Whales, and a whale being like a super wealthy person. And then on their report, like last year, I think, John Curtis, who you're running to replace, was just under Nancy Pelosi in the amount of profit from trades that many consider trade, from the office. What do you think about that?
Well, can I correct you? Actually, he was one above.
He was one above.
I'm very familiar with it. Unfortunately, John has built this multi-million-dollar house about 200 yards from my house, right next to this park. All you have to do is look at it. And
Would you support a ban on congressional stock trades?
Absolutely.
Would that include the families of congresspeople?
Absolutely. For me, the salary that they make is plenty. I don't need additional money, and that's what I've heard some of these people say. Well, I have to make somebody else money. That's 4 times the regular salary of the average American. That should be enough for you just to concentrate on that. Same with family members. To me, it's a no-brainer how it hasn't happened, because we need to do everything that we can to restore trust in government, and that's a minor thing that should have been done a long time ago.
It'll be tough to get the swamp to sign on to that kind of thing. Would you personally abstain from stock trading while in office if you were elected?
Absolutely. I commit to that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you running.
You bet. Thank you.
See you. See who else we got here. Everybody's wrapping up. Who do you work for?
I'm a volunteer.
For who?
For this man.
For this guy. All right. All right, I think we're going to get close to wrapping it up here. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to wrap up the stream here. We've been live here in Wallsburg, Utah, and this beautiful historic church. I think it's the town square now. There's a new church, but this is just a beautiful building. And good job to Mark Allen. You can see him here in the cowboy hat for setting this up. We had a lot of good candidate speeches. I'll cut these the individual speeches up and post them. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to subscribe at youtube.com/lifeisdriving. You can follow me on Twitter at lifeisdriving. And we're live with KMMU, Main Street Media Utah. Find us on the web at mainstreetmediautah.com. And check us out on Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and share this video with anybody that wants to know more about the candidates running for office.